Hey, welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast, episode 228.
Yes, sir.
8? Really? I thought we were
Yeah.
on 9. Oh, wow. I guess I didn't do the intro last time. That fucked me up. I'm here with... Oh, geez, now I totally fucked it up. I'm here with Cody. I'm Graham. I'm here with Cody and Luke. Richie's doing night shifts again because he just doesn't like hanging out with us, I guess.
He hates
And
us.
we have Garret Newman on. I'm gonna be honest, I jumped in here last second. Garret, I probably follow you or you follow me on social media, and I probably know what rig you have, but I don't give us a little like 2-sentence intro on like what's your rig and where you at
What
the
are you
main
about?
beat.
All right, so like you said, my name's Garret Newman. My rig is a '94 Toyota pickup. Well, that's one of them. It's sitting on 37-inch red labels. It's just your kind of run-of-the-mill solid axle truck on Toyota mini truck axles. It was a two-wheel drive, and it started out as a lowrider. It was like absolutely gorgeous. Probably could have been a show truck, but we kept wheeling it, and eventually it landed on its lid one night, and the rest is history. It's just kind of just your typical beater Toyota now.
Sick. And the red labels, I assume, just make it go everywhere.
Yeah, it was definitely a
Toyota.
game changer going to a set of red labels, or even just a sticky for that matter.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's something magical about just a little old Toyota and red labels. It doesn't matter what else you do to it.
It is a phenomenal combo.
I've seen it.
It really is.
I've seen it. I think a lot of people in New England have seen that.
I think it's just kind of a universal standard because if you look at the PNW dudes, you'll see that over there too.
Yeah. No.
Just fucking Iroks and leaf springs going up shit that fucking stickies are not making it up, and then throwing a set of reds or a set of traps and they just go.
That's actually, my truck used to be on a set of Iroks before it was on
I
the
knew it.
stickies.
Fucking Toyota guy. Every
perfect.
fucking time.
It was on a set of bias ply 37-14-5 Iroks.
Let me guess. R15-2 on
Homemade
probably
beadlocks.
Traeger-based homemade beadlocks.
Something like that, yep.
Fucking every... Did it have a square front drive shaft too?
Actually, it's got a PTO shaft from a tractor.
Even better.
Even
Perfect.
fucking better. Oh my god. This is
We have
sick.
found the default Toyota of all Toyotas. Like, all right,
Problem
so
is, if it works, why fucking change it, right? Like it's clearly proven time and time and time again. Can't fucking fault you.
Well, and my thought with the PTO shaft or the square tube was it's already meant to be like a dry shaft, and it doesn't make as much noise. And I've landed that thing on so many rocks, and it holds up just fine.
the new meta for front drive shafts. Actually, I'm kind of curious what the wall thickness on a PTO shaft is.
It's pretty decently thick. I think it depends on what one you get though, because I think you can get different shapes and stuff.
Okay, I've got another question for you. Is it 2 or 3 transfer cases?
I actually only run a single case.
Whoa.
Okay, wow, that's
Whoa.
that
You
one
just
was the
turned
unexpected
around.
one.
Yeah, so that's where I'm a little different. I run a single case with a gear in the transfer case, and I run 410 diffs still to try to keep the diffs together. And when you run the dual cases with the 410s, you actually put more stress on the duals and blow the duals up.
That actually makes a shit ton of sense, because of the mechanical loading and all that shit. And it's not like they're going into a 205 that doesn't give a fuck and it's just going to try and send your drive shafts to hell.
Yeah, and I mean, we wheel the East Coast. So, I mean, still need the wheel speed. So I didn't. I mean, the dual cases are nice. I've had trucks with the dual cases, but I don't know. I like my single cases actually.
It makes sense to me, at least. Are you an auto or a manual dude?
I do have a manual, but it's I think it's a R151 out of a turbo truck, so it actually has the lowest first gear, and it's all 23 spline, so it's a bigger spline count.
That's this
23
truck or
spline is the bigger spline count?
Yeah, so 21 spline is what your just like W56 and all your just regular Toyota transmissions are.
So I knew that applied with Jeeps. I wasn't sure if that was because the AX15's based off of what the fuck
Well,
is it?
in the Jeeps, they changed it all over. Early years have 21 spline automatics. 23 spline was always, I believe, the standard for the transmission outputs for the
Peugeots are
manuals.
21.
The TJs?
No, the Peugeot BA10.
Oh, okay. So never mind. Then you're right. Everything like after Peugeot and up manual is 23 spline. All the AX15s are in the 3550s. But the autos were still 21 spline until I want to say mid 90s. So you end up with some
The
transfer case
high
goofiness.
outputs.
Yeah, that's when they changed it.
So that would be 91. Anyways,
maybe not then. Maybe it's not related to that. I don't know. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. You probably have 23 spline if you have a Cherokee or a Jeep. Unless it's really old.
or a 4-cylinder.
Yeah, then you're fucked. There's no helping you.
4-cylinders are dumb anyway.
Unless it's a 22 RE, and I'll stand by that.
Still dumb.
No, God, 4-cylinder. All right.
So,
but okay, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I've been asking all the questions here.
I
It's
wasn't
been like
here.
21.
I wasn't here last week, so I'm a little excited. I'm a little jumpy. I apologize. So, want me to go? You got this. All right. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of like, how did you get into wheeling? What brought you to this point? Because it seems like you've had quite a few rigs now, or that you do currently have quite a few rigs, and I'd love to know kind of where you came from to get to this point.
So I grew up like riding 4-wheelers and stuff with my dad, and my uncle had Toyota when I was growing up. That's where the Toyota love came from. My dad had some cool trucks growing up, but wasn't until I was probably about, I don't know, 13 or 14 that I started like kind of really getting into like the whole truck thing and like just falling in love with the off-road trucks. And then in high school, I had a 1982 Toyota pickup and put a lift kit and stuff on it and beat the snot out of it, put a couple motors in it in high school. And then me and my wife got together and we just started collecting trucks. Like at one point, I think we had 27 trucks altogether.
Damn.
And we've downsized quite a bit. I'm pretty good about starting projects and not finishing them. So we've kind of got down to a manageable point where I feel like I might be able to finish what we have, but I don't know. I keep just bouncing between pretty much my truck and the Samurai that we have because those are the two that run right now, but there's some other ones sitting in the barn that need attention.
So what else you got as far as the completed rigs? Because there's one I want to ask some questions about, but
So as far as so as far as completed ones that like we've actually got to wheel and that run and drive or did at one point, there's my Toyota, but it's currently broke the rear output shafts and transfer case. So it's on the back burner right now, and we have been wheeling we call it a Suzuki Samurai, but it's just a buggy pretty much. There's nothing really left of the Samurai other than it's got like 4 foot of frame rail, a windshield frame, and a hood, and then the rest is all just completely custom. And we just recently put a back seat in that, so it's kind of the family wheeler. We're actually trying to get it back together from our good evening trip, but it's got a supercharged 3800. It's mated to I believe it's an A340 LE, and then that goes to a Dana 300, and then it's got Fab 9 axles under it.
That thing's cool as fuck.
Thanks.
So with the 3800 and the supercharger, is it noticeable where it starts building boost, or is it geared down to the point where it kind of is already in boost as you're, coming into throttle?
I would say that you don't really notice the boost. Like, we have a Forerunner as well with a supercharger, and just in my opinion, you don't really feel the boost so much with you don't feel where the boost comes on with it. It definitely adds more power, but there's not like the noticeable, okay, we hit boost like there is with the turbo.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, how did that thing come about?
So that all started actually on my and my wife's honeymoon. We bought a Polaris Razor, and we took it to Rush for, I believe it was one of the bouncer bashes or something. And we had it for a little while, but it wasn't us. We're not really big side by side people, and that, but we really discovered that after we got that. Wasn't before, and it just wasn't us. So my buddy had the Samurai, and he had got a new, I think he got a wide open design chassis buggy. And I asked him what was going on with the Samurai because I'd always loved it, and he told me it was going to be for sale. And I asked him if he was interested in trading the Samurai for the Razor, and he was down to do it. So we met up. I think it was the day after New Year's, and made the deal.
That's
so now,
sweet.
was that the Samurai and the wide open design, or was that he already bought that? So now he
No,
didn't really
no,
need the.
he already. It was just the Razor for just the Suzuki Samurai. He
Okay. I
since
didn't
he
know if
like
he.
got another buggy, he was interested in having a side by side and the buggy.
Fair enough. Okay, I didn't know if you were kind of saying like he bought like a roller and then cobbled it.
No,
I
no,
didn't.
no, no, no.
Got you.
He bought a complete. I'm gonna call it. I think it's a bouncer. I think is what his chassis would be considered, or a trail buggy.
Oh yeah. Damn, that's
So,
awesome though. So you were able to kind of get back into something for the exact same cost, and are you happy with that decision, even though you weren't really much of a Razor fan?
Yeah, because we got out of the whole Razor, we got out of the whole side by side scene, and like we had the other trucks still, but this was we had our daughter, and that Samurai originally had a back seat in it. It had storage in it whenever we got it, so it gave us an excuse to get something that we could put the family in if I put the back seat in it, and that's actually what I just did. Like I think last year I finally put the back seat back in it.
yeah, the back seat mount looks like it was pretty simple to throw back in there. It just seems like you had to brace it with a little bit of angle, and then did you end up throwing a floor pan under that, just out of curiosity?
Yes, so I built a floor, like a removable floor for it, so that can all be unbolted. The biggest thing was I had to move some coolers that were back there. Like the power steering cooler was found behind the seats, and the transmission cooler was mounted in a different spot. So I had to reroute all that stuff and kind of figure it out because it would have been like right where the kids' feet would have sat.
That
So
makes sense.
it took a little bit of figuring out to just kind of mainly staring at it and just kind of where do I want this at and how is this going to work so that like it's kind of safe for the kids. Like I didn't want the power steering cooler back there because that's going to get pretty hot. The trans cooler stays fairly cool because it's got a fan on it and it's out of the way. I mean, they'd have to really, really reach for it to get their hands on that.
Does it with the Dana 300 in there, what's the gearing end up coming out to? Because you said it's got Fab 9s, so that could mean anything from like 323s to what, stick something?
So As far as I know, I just had the Dana 300 apart, and it has stock gears in the Dana 300. And I believe from what I read, it's got 617 gears in the axles.
That all
Dang.
makes some sense. That's definitely a way to get a little more gear ratio out of what are those, 2.6 to 1, if I remember right, for the 300?
I'm not sure what the stock ratio is. The Dana 300 is all pretty new to me.
I think they're 2 to 1, same as on a 205.
They're deeper than a 205. Hang on, Google will
They are
help
not.
us out
I'm pretty
here.
sure they're exactly the same. It's a 2 to 1 case. Unless I'm going to be confident even if it's wrong. I'm 99% sure.
2.62, according to Pirate 4x4. Or 4 to 1.
Oh,
depending on if it's out.
2.6? Okay.
Yep.
So it's not 2.7.
You're wrong, Graham. Stupid.
That's fine. Sometimes Luke's just confidently wrong, and then I'm like, okay, and I just listen, and then everyone yells at me. So I was gonna be confident in what I thought was right, even though it was wrong. Just like Luke sometimes.
I spent a lot of
it
time being
happens.
wrong.
Hey, all I'm saying is, the Nazis did the same thing, bro, and I don't think they did the right thing. So maybe we don't blindly, follow. All right, just saying,
No,
guys.
we're gonna blindly just tell you what the ratio in your Dana 30 is, or
They
Dana
did
300. Same difference. Dana 32, really. Any
They
axle.
had
I'll tell you
2.6
what
or
axle you got in there.
2.0. Dana, I think it was the Dana 18 had a 2.0. There's a bunch of weird
Dana
shit from that
20
time
maybe.
period. Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Also,
lot
the
of
Dana
goofy axles
300
too.
ended up under fucking a bunch of shit, so who knows if there's different fucking... Anyways. So 617 in the gears, gears has got to be pretty fucking low, even if it is a 2.0 to 1.
Yeah, it's got plenty of gearing, and I actually talked to the guy that built it. And the Samurai was originally built down in Texas, and he didn't put a gear in the transfer case because with it being an auto, it already wants to drive through the brakes.
Damn.
So if you were to put the lower gear in it, and I messed with the brakes, and they were really spongy when I got it, and it had, I think, a Subaru master cylinder and some sort of weird combination of master cylinder and whatnot and booster on it. So I put a Willwood setup on it. Well, when I put the Willwood setup on it, there's no vacuum assist. And I just split the difference on the 3 different sizes of master cylinder bore sizes. And I put too big of a master cylinder bore size in it. So you have to like pull yourself into the steering wheel and just like have a kangaroo leg to stop the damn thing. So it's a little dicey right now. At some point, I need to change the master cylinder bore size, but it works.
Kind of.
Kinda. I mean, it definitely it will stop you. I mean, like if you hold it hard enough, it'll stop.
Now,
It takes effort.
I'm sorry, I was doing autism deep dive into the Dana 300 gear ratios there, so I missed that. Is it mechanical brakes or?
Yeah, so it's got a Willwood brake setup on it where it's just like its own separate pedal assembly with the master cylinder attached to the pedals, and there's no like vacuum assist or nothing.
Are your brakes squishy by chance?
No, they are not squishy at all. It's like as soon as you touch the brakes, they're starting to grab, but you just have to like put a lot of effort into stopping it.
Because Graham, wasn't there a thing a while back, dude? We're digging deep into my brain right now. I was gonna say I remember there was some issue with like weird feel using mechanical only on the Willwood setup.
It's the pedal throw ratio
Is that
Yeah,
what it
there's
is?
different
I didn't know if
pedals.
it was. I didn't know if it was something like that, but if it's not squishy, then you're good. But yeah, maybe just put a big ass fucking brake pedal on that and put some behind it. You know what I'm saying? Just really get into it.
So basically, what I read was I'm pretty sure if I decrease the master cylinder bore size, it actually increases the line pressure, and it'll actually make the brake pedal easier to push.
Okay.
Because you're not trying to push as much volume, is what I gathered from it.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because you're not gonna have a shit ton of volume in the lines, anyways.
Well, you
So,
don't need. That was actually like a thing. I did. Brakes are like everything about them is like very different. I feel from a lot of like just other parts of car stuff. There's a lot of like very important, minute details with all that little shit, and you can kind of get away with just putting shit together. But one thing I found on like the J20 when I was doing the brake lines on that is like, it had this fat brake line to the back. And I was like, does it like? I've never seen a truck with a line like it was like a like 2 or 3 sizes up from a typical like 3/16 brake line that you'd see on every vehicle these days. I was like, does it need this? Like, why is there like a reason that the master pushing and like a shitload of fluid and the brakes and or the drums in the back need that for some reason, or it's like a pressure thing? And the line pressure doesn't change. If anything, it makes it worse. So you just want less fluid all around, and your pressure will be higher, which does more for the brakes than if it was, lower with a fatter line. Anyways, the fluid itself doesn't really matter. Flame me if I'm wrong, but I'm like pretty sure that's what I read on the internet.
I
Which
know
does lie.
from ancient experience here that if you put ATF in as brake fluid, it ends up melting the master cylinder. We learned that on a Toyota in like 2014.
Why would you do that?
I mean, they're both hydraulic fluids, so technically, you're just saying it should work. But I think
Because
ATF
they-
has
Well,
Fluid,
ATF melts
conditioner,
fluid
right?
or melts
Yeah.
seals.
Yeah, because
Yep.
there's the conditioner and shit like that in it, right?
Yep. And so basically what happened was it blew a brake line. We hammered the brake line over. We didn't have any brake fluid and it ended up getting fucking ATF because that was the closest thing we had to brake fluid or 15 weight 40. So
I think we put 1540 in my buddy's Jeep to one night to get his brakes back because no one had any brake fluid with them. I want to say that's what we used. And they worked for the evening.
Horrible because like oil isn't hydrophobic. I feel like that's such a bad idea. But maybe
Well,
I'm wrong. It'll
like,
work.
In the grand scheme of things, changing out a whole brake system, is it really that hard? Like lines, I mean,
Oh no, to clear it out, no, it wouldn't be bad at all. You could just fucking just release the brake lines and then just pressurize the cap, and you'd probably be able to just fucking blow that shit out quickly.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the end of the world. I mean, the master probably wouldn't like that. Actually, hold on.
No, it'd be fine. I feel like as long as you
Yeah,
weren't like,
gravity bleed it. Fuck it, it'll be
Yeah.
fine.
exactly.
But anyways, back to the whole conversation that we started this with. Now, is it because this vehicle has what axles under it? This is the Toyota. This is a Sammy with the Toyota axles, or does it have tons?
The
Fab
Samurai has Fab 9s, yes.
Fab 9. Sorry, completely skipped
It's
over that. I apologize. Damn it, I'm surprised that it's pushing through the brakes. That's crazy.
well, I'm wondering what outers it's got on it too, just out of curiosity.
Good point.
So the front outers are old school 60. It's got Kingpin 60 outers on it.
Okay.
And then the rear is just a 9-inch rear. It just has, I believe it's just regular 9-inch shafts with the 9-inch, I think it's a set 20 bearing set or something on the outer part of it.
Yeah, basically just standard semi-float 9s. Or a standard semi-float 9.
Yep.
All right.
And then
That makes sense.
I'm pretty sure the buggy was built quite a while ago. You can actually pull up, there's a whole pirate build of it back when it started out as just like a regular old Samurai with the stock Zook motor and everything. And then how it just evolved. I think it's like 30 some pages long.
Dang. That's kind of cool though. That it has a whole pirate page.
Yeah, and I've saved the pirate page just because I've gone back to it several times to try and figure out, like, when we do break something, try to get an idea of, like, what's what with it. Because I don't know.
Wait, that's kind of sick though. That's like what I feel like every guy wish they would have when they buy a built buggy. Like at least have some form of thing to go back to. And like, cause fuck half these guys, like look at oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Wow. The fucking trail trash guy had give me a second, Eddie.
Boy.
Eddie Kemp. Oh my god, I'm so sorry that I just blanked on his name. Where like he has his rig, and granted, yeah, now he's had his hands in almost every aspect of it, right? But before him, when he first bought that, he didn't know who the fucking original owner was. The guy who he got it from didn't build the rig. So like that must be just a fucking nightmare if it's like, oh, a wiring issue, and if it's not a simple just like fucking 2-wire system, like fuck that.
Yeah, at that point you're looking at you just gonna spend a couple hours learning how the wires work.
Just keep chasing them all to yourself and just fucking
I
follow them.
mean, I feel like when you own something like that, unless you have a pirate page documenting every detail, or at least 30 pages of detail on it, like
30 pages, dude. Oh my god.
you're in for some spelunking.
Some of them old fucking Cherokee builds on Pirate went on for like 50 or 60 fucking pages, just when the guy had the rig for fucking ever. That shit was sick though, because you could like click on the original and then go to like the last page and just see the absolute rig abuse that has gone on.
The problem is I think they used Stockish for their photos, right? And now they're having an issue with like you go back
Photo
and then
Bucket.
Photo bucket.
Photo
Yeah,
bucket. Okay,
that was
forgot
my
what
next
version.
question. Was are there pictures still on it? Is it
Yeah, so
just text?
luckily there are still some pictures because that's
Oh
actually how I was
shit!
able to figure out what front axle seals are in the buggy. Because the way that they do the 9-inch seals, uh, it goes based off of the wall thickness of the axle tube. And there's like nowhere on the buggy that I can tell how thick the wall thickness was.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a son of a bitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so luckily there was like a picture of a trail gear bag with the seals in it. I was able to zoom in and get the part number off of it.
Wow.
No fucking way, dude. That's so lucky. Holy shit!
So how thick are the axle tubes?
To be honest, I don't remember again. I just have the part number saved for the axle seals in my phone, so I know what ones to get again.
Thick enough.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, what's it like hopping into that thing versus the truck as far as driving styles? They're like I'm gonna guess there's a massive difference, but just
So
curiosity.
I always joke that I drive my Toyota by Braille because you cannot see a single thing out of that truck because I put the seats really low and I put the dash bar way too high. So you're lucky to even like see the top of the stinger from the driver's seat.
Hmm.
So that truck, you try to look about, I don't know, you look several feet up the trail and just try to remember what was in front of you.
Hmm.
And I actually personally enjoy wheeling the Toyota a lot more than the Zook, but I mean half of that comes from I'm wheeling with a bunch of other buddies that have leaf sprung Toyotas and stuff. So getting in the Zook, it is a whole different ball game of like line choices. We just got back from Good Evening Ranch, and the line choices I had to take in the Zook. So the belly height on the Zook is so much lower too. I want to say that like without putting a tape measure on it, the belly height's like 13 to 14 inches, maybe 15 tops.
So it's not
Um,
on 40s, it's on 37s or something like that.
no, those
And
are 40s.
oh damn, that thing's sitting fucking low then.
Yes, it is very low. But that, as nice as that is, it can hinder you so fast on breakovers and stuff. So, like, we were coming up Cadillac, and I had to just completely ride the wall up and around on the left side to get the belly up and over. Whereas, like, in the Toyota, I took the far right line, like, on the spot where they took Ultimate Adventure through, where they put that rock at the bottom. You guys familiar with that?
Yes. Yes, we
Okay.
are.
So that spot is where I was referring to of like where like two totally different line choices. But I mean they're both fun. It just they're two totally different animals though too.
Yeah, they are. I ended up trying far right line when you first come in there. I blew the drive shaft out of it and ended up just going up the wall side line to get out of there with the new drive shaft in it. But Jake was super helpful with the samurai full of tools and random bullshit that I needed.
Yeah, they're a good time, and when we went with them, we broke so much stuff that weekend. It wasn't even funny how much stuff we broke.
That sounds on par for the course. So other stupid question here. Since that thing's on air shocks, why not just throw a couple of extra PSI in there and get that thing riding another 2-3 inches higher to help with the belly height? Because I'm looking at the Instagram post from like 2 weeks ago, and that thing is obscenely low. I see what you're talking about.
Because that thing looks gangster as fuck, and who needs more ride height when it looks badass? I think
So
that's pretty self-explanatory.
my fear is if I mess with it, I'm gonna not be able to get it back to the way it performs now if I don't like raising it up.
Mm.
And I just have kind of come to kind of understand that, like, hey, we're gonna smack the belly on this. We need to kind of either look for an alternative route, or if we can, we're gonna have to kind of slide it a little hard across the belly to get up and over.
It's pretty valid, right? At least it's, consistent, so you kind of know what you're getting into currently.
And it's kind of, it's not the longest thing in the world too, so that's another thing I'd be kind of worried about with raising it up a little bit, is that maybe we would lose a little bit of stability on some steep climbs.
I can see that. I think that if you went reasonable and you put like another, I don't know, fucking 25 to 50 psi in the shocks just to push it up a little bit more, I think it would still be pretty close to stable. Once again, that's just my random thoughts on it. It looks sick. It is fucking low riding.
I love it.
It
Thank you.
reminds me of the yeah, I dig the fucking look too. I'm just, that belly pan looks like it's seen better fucking days.
Well, that's it still has the stock Zook frame rails under it, and they are just smashed under there. And like the skid plate is like smashed to the same shape as what the frame rails are and stuff. It's getting a little rough in that section of frame rail. At some point, I'll either have to plate it or cut it all the way out and try and put some square tube in there or something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we'll see if the rest of the chassis holds up. If next couple of years, if something happens to it, then we'll just strip the running gear and start building something else.
So this picture on Instagram of your wife flopping it onto its side, is that the second section of Rubicon at Good Evening
Yes,
Rant?
it is. Yeah.
Interesting. It's funny that I noticed that. So Graham almost did this exact same thing the last time we were there. Going for that like in between line, Graham, you know what I'm talking about, where everybody else went to the far right and that left side was nuts, like the bridging that you'd have to do across, like, dude, the gaps are like 5 foot in between on these massive rocks with just like a 14-foot hole in the center. And damn, I'm surprised that what did she turn too far driver and then it just kind of fucking went blip? Or you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was videotaping and trying to spot her at the same time, because we got a YouTube channel too, and we're going to be releasing that video here probably within a week.
Oh,
So
fuck yeah.
What's the YouTube channel?
it's Japscrapadventures.
Hell yeah.
So I was filming and trying to watch her at the same time, and she was in a weird spot, and I needed her to back up, and I told her that it was gonna slam kind of hard down on the driver's side because I was standing at the rear of the buggy on the driver's side, and I'm looking at that rear tire that's way up in the air. I told her it's gonna come towards me, and it's gonna probably hit kind of hard. She backed up about, I don't know, maybe another foot, and it just dumped onto the passenger side like so slow. Like, All right. Well, that's not where I was anticipating that to go, but cool.
We're here now.
It's on its side. Good job. You rolled it first. I didn't have to be the first one to roll it.
Oh, and the windshield's already cracked, so fuck it, right? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Which actually, I think I'm going to start pulling the windshield out of it. That weekend, it rained and rained and rained. But I'm going to try to start pulling it out and saving the windshield for the rainy weekends like that. Because if we keep it up, we're not going to have a windshield for the rainy weekends.
I'm about to lose my windshield just permanently. We went to the slop fest. That was the meet and beat. Richie and myself, that is. And couldn't see a fucking thing. Like, just fucking nothing. My Jeep's all open, so it just fogs the windshield up instantly. Okay. And it's like not fucking... It's more of a problem to keep the windshield in it and not be able to see than it is to just pack extra, wet weather gear and be able to still see. Because it got sketchy at a couple of points there.
But you still have a glass windshield?
Yeah, I've got the glass windshield.
Okay. Because I put a Lexan windshield in the Toyota. And I loved it up until I bought this like expensive sheet that's supposed to be scratch resistant and all this other shit, and it cracked. Like it's cracked in multiple places. And I actually bolted it into the windshield frame. I bought some riv nuts off of Amazon and bought the tool and everything so I could remove the windshield if it was like really hot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually read somewhere to ceramic coat it, and that seemed to actually work pretty good.
So yeah, I was gonna say I've heard some kind of horror stories about Lexan on windshields, common with like drag cars and shit too, where like they'll just get a film sometimes that you just can't get off, regardless of the scratches but it's like something to do with like the fog, and then like whenever antifreeze starts to evaporate, it'll like stick to Lexan like a motherfucker. So it's something to consider as well. Yeah. And I don't know if it does it with Plexi as well, but I know that Lexan's a bit more flexible and bend resistant like crack resistant than Lexan. But like, yeah, it's one of those weird things that sadly just sometimes can happen too.
Well, that's what made me mad is I spent the money to try and buy a nice quality piece, and I bought Lex instead of plexiglass, and like it's contoured to the cab of the truck, so it's kind of it's got a curve to it, and all along the bottom it's starting to crack and just like follow up the windshield.
Weird.
Yeah, I was really shocked when that started happening.
And now, have you replaced it, or does it still have the crack? I'm curious if it was like an impurity in it, or if it's just something that's going to continue to happen.
It's still in it. I'm gonna run it till there's nothing left of it. But the truck's been sitting in the barn since I think we broke it in September. Is when we broke the output shaft, and it's just kind of been holding its spot in the barn ever since then.
Fuck yeah! So what's the plan? You plan on getting a two place and bringing both of them with you, or you just gonna keep it as one every once in a while and kind of swap in between the two?
So, I mean, eventually it'd be really cool to haul two, especially so I could just put like the wife and the kids in the Zook, and like we just kind of consider the orange truck as the party truck. But I'd have to do so much. I'd have to get a bigger trailer. Need to get a heavier duty hitch on the truck, and I got an old 7.3, so it's like it doesn't exactly like a bunch of weight behind it, and I already have the truck like completely loaded down. I'd love to roll the truck across the scale because it's got a service bed on it, and that thing is just filled with tools and parts and everything.
Yeah, so it's heavy. It's probably like
it's heavy.
10. Yeah, like Marvell's truck. 10 or 11, probably, right?
I have no idea. Like I said, I'd love to roll it across the scale because
No.
it's got to be heavy.
It's under 10,000. Come on, guys. Let's be honest here. It's definitely not more when you're going on the highway. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Them
Not
scales.
more than 10.
I don't know.
It
Never
does
weighed
look
it.
good though.
Just say it's a camper or something. You know what I mean? Just put a bed back there and be like, I don't know. It's a camper. Sorry, guys. I don't have to weigh it. See ya.
Well, we used to actually have a in-bed camper on top of the service bed.
Wow. So that's a lot. That's like a whole ass.
Yeah.
Like you got a house. You got the shop and the house with you.
Yeah, nope. I don't know if you want to put a 2-place behind that now that I'm thinking about that. So you have the truck, the service bed, a camper, trailer, rig.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, you're totally underweight. Come on.
Well, actually, the camper's gone out of it, but now it's got a ladder rack on it, and on top of the ladder rack, we got a rooftop tent and an awning off the side of it. So,
so you just like camping way up there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're way up there. We couldn't use the truck as a truck anymore with the truck bed camper, and it's too much of a pain to pull it in and out. So we just decided to go a different route, sold the truck bed camper, and we're kind of not quite building an overland truck, but capable of overlanding if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of can do some off the grid camping and wheeling.
Yep.
It's sitting on what, 37s?
Yeah, it's got 37s on it.
Sweet. You do anything to
does?
the moat? Yeah.
Jesus. It's getting crazier. It's getting crazier by the minute.
Have you done anything to the old 7.3 to get it out of its own damn way? Because it's probably hating life at the moment.
So I did just about every single bolt on that you can possibly do to a 7.3 without getting completely internal.
Hang on, I gotta break the fourth wall here. Dave, start listening. Anyways, back on.
So I did stage 1.5 full force injectors. I don't know what the nozzle size and all that is, but like it was the last size before you got out of like a towing injector more into a performance one. It's got a stage 1 KC turbo on it. I put a billet H-pop on it. It's got headers on it. It's got bellowed up pipes, aftermarket down pipe. I did the e-fuel conversion.
What's the e-fuel conversion? I've never heard of that.
Those have a mechanical pump down the valley, and it's got the fuel bowl in the valley, and it is just garbage. It leaks, and just my valley was always filled with fuel to the point that it like run down the back of the motor.
Jeez.
So now it has a fuel pump off like a 2000 Ford, the next generation 7.3, which is the electronic fuel pump. And it's got spin-on filters on the frame rail, like a whole bracket that bolts onto the frame rail, and just gets rid of everything out of the valley of the motor and cleans the whole valley of the motor up, so you don't have all that garbage down the valley. And then
it's that right there sounds like it's worth it.
And that was why I did it just from the get-go, because I was so tired of fuel. I had replaced all the lines down in the valley and everything. I was still leaking fuel. And I was just like, okay, I'm done with this. And I don't like all the clutter. So I did away with that. And it's supposed to make the injectors happier too, because they're getting like a constant fuel pressure to them.
Yeah, because I owned a 7.3. This was like in 2014. And my aunt had one, but she moved to Colorado in like 2012. So my experience with them is pretty limited. With the Super Duties versus the OBSs, wasn't there also a change to the intercooling and the bigger turbo as well?
Yes, so I intercooled it. I did the Banks intercooler on it as well. But yes, the later ones did have an intercooler, and there may have been something with the turbos as well.
Yeah, I want to say that the 99s were special. I forget exactly what it was, but I want to say it was that they had the bigger pistons and bigger turbo, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Or not bigger pistons, I'm sorry. Slightly different pistons that were slightly better.
I know that was the case for the 03 to 03 and a half 6 liters. I know that year was like a bigger turbo and change, and the pistons for a higher compression. But I don't know about the 7.3s.
Yeah, I'm going back to ancient history at this point. The only reason I have a Cummins, to be honest with you, is because I sold my fucking
Well,
F-250 because I got tired of the damn fucking gas mileage.
if you keep
Oh
going
yeah, the
far
fuel
enough back,
mileage sucks.
keep going back in that Ford history, you'll hit a Cummins too.
You're not wrong. Or up in truck size, because what is it? The F650s come with ISB or an 8.3, I forget which.
I don't think anymore. I could be wrong, but I don't think they did after like
I know
fucking
they
what, the late
used to.
90s. But I don't know. I don't know all that much. I'm
I
dumb.
think once you got into those bigger ones, they came with either the Cummins or the Cat, and you could pick between the two from the dealer.
Weird, but cool.
Yeah.
So like, after spending all this time and effort, what was the most impactful thing on it?
So I did all that stuff kind of all the turbo and the injectors came first. And probably the most impactful thing was the injectors, but the problem is the truck has like 334,000 miles on it, and it's an old plumbing truck. So when I got it, it was rough. And I think she's a little low in the wind in the sails because there's a lot of white smoke whenever you start the truck up till it warms up.
I saw that in one of the videos when you were taking off with the Sammy behind it, I think. That thing
It's
was
pissed. I tried to get away with putting upgrades on a truck and hoping that like it'd make up for the possibly lack of compression. I don't know. There's something going on that's not happy about because it can be like 70 degrees outside and you have to wait for the glow plugs to warm up because it will just crank and crank and crank if you don't.
So you've got one of those 7.3s.
Yes,
Understandable. Have a nice day.
if but we have gone to Wellsville before, and our last trip every year is the end of November. It's like the weekend before Thanksgiving we go every year. And the one year it was like -degree weather out. And if I hit the glow plugs like 3 times, the truck will fire up. It's almost like I don't know. I don't even know what's up with it.
Old
It's
Ford
its own
things.
beast. Exactly.
Don't question it as long as it starts.
As long as it starts and gets me to and from, I kind of at this point I'm just like okay with it until its next chapter.
Fair enough. So, you brought up Good Evening Ranch, you brought up Wellsville. I suppose we should probably ask the basic question of like, where do you normally go wheeling? Is it those two spots? Is it
So
Roush?
Wellsville is our go-to, and the reason it's our go-to, like one, it's amazing, but it used to be way cooler than what it is now. Uh, it's kind of another reason that not a huge fan of side by sides. They've kind of not ruined the place, but hasn't done any favors.
I
And
get that.
Wellsville's like still 2.5 hours from us, but that's like the closest place to us. I'm like 45 minutes south of Cleveland. So there's really nothing, there's really not much in Ohio in general.
Yeah, you gotta come on down to Kentucky more. Or not
That's,
Kentucky, I guess, because isn't that 8 hours you were saying?
yeah, I think I want to say that's at least 8 to get to, I want to say it was 8 to get to Harland.
Damn.
Because it took us, I think it was 5.5 or 6 to get to Good Evening, actually.
That's not too bad.
No, and that was to me. It was so we went to Rush, and Rush is okay, but I would rather go the extra hour and a half to go to Good Evening. Because even though it's a smaller park, there's almost more to do, in my opinion, in a full-size rig.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe we just didn't have a good grasp on Rush, but I've been there twice, I think, and it's a lot of side-by-side stuff.
Roush, right? Am I just
No, Rush.
No, Rush.
Where's Rush?
Ohio.
Kentucky.
Oh,
Wait, is it the northern side of Kentucky? I thought it was close to Ohio. Okay.
Yeah.
Rush is the northern side of Kentucky. So like I think the next closest park it's a good ways in. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Black Mountain, if you're gonna go to a park in Kentucky, is probably the most well established at this point. Rush, everything that I've heard has not been super positive. So if I'm gonna be going to Kentucky, I'd rather just go to a place that I know has a bunch of good shit and figure that out.
And that's where I'm at with it. Like I would rather drive farther to go to somewhere that I'm going to enjoy more, and it's going to have more stuff that's suitable to me than a place that's closer.
I'm lucky because I'm down in I'm near Chattanooga in Tennessee. So like I've got AOP, Windrock, Harlan, Leatherwood, most of the Alabama parks.
Pussy.
You know,
we got Ma Bell.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you
be
ain't got
real.
Ma Bell.
I'm gonna be real. I like New England Wheeling. New England Wheeling was fucking awesome. I also like just being able to go to the fucking park, pay my money, and go in with my small group and not have to worry about it.
But it must be terrible to try to help a guy who rolls over and then he get kicked out and arrested. That must be crazy.
Oh, don't. I was trying to stay away from that, but yeah.
I don't know enough about the situation to comment on it, but from what I read, that shit sounds wild. It sounds like a Good Evening Ranch for Us situation over again for a different group.
No, from what I understand, like I'll give like a 2-sentence rundown on what I've heard, which and then like a not like trying to stir the pot kind of way here. I think it was
stirring the pot.
it was I think it was an overreaction on both sides, and just hot-headed Southern dudes being hot-headed Southern dudes. I think that's like all there is to it. I think when both sides are not completely in the wrong and don't want to somebody doesn't want to stand down on it and just take it for a split second, then you're gonna have situations where people get petty and do stupid shit like that. Because from what I understand, it wasn't like, I don't think anything came of it. It was just cops called, stuff happened, and then blew over. Maybe it didn't blow over. I don't know that far, but
that stuff takes time. So
what do you mean nothing happened? The man got arrested.
Yeah, but he was like back at the park the next day, from what I understand.
He
so
was
it's like
next door next day.
Yeah,
So
maybe close enough. So it's like if I called the cops on you and I got you in trouble and you were because you were being an ass or something, right? And you went to jail for a day and then came back and we laughed about it. Like that'd be
catching these hands before the cops get there. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna make you earn that police call. But yeah, again, we're talking about a topic none of us have a ton of info about. Maybe we should step away from it, but still fucking crazy.
Just what I heard. I think Chris Welch had a great blurb on it if you want to get his opinion on it from Facebook. And so did Nick LeBlanc, I think. I think both of them had insights into it. No, different people. Different insights.
My simple take on that whole thing is it's like appears to have been a shitty situation, and then like you said, Graham tempers got flared on both sides, and I think that there might be a minor bit of an issue on the park side. I'm not saying the guy that rolled was not also causing a problem, but my biggest fear about all of this is that it's going to bring down the rulebook hammer on AOP.
Yep.
That's the one thing I don't want, because I do enjoy AOP being AOP in the way that AOP is.
Too much of a good thing can... honestly, I'm surprised that hasn't cracked down. They haven't cracked down on things a little bit, because they have a lot of rules, and I feel like they're more often than not being stepped on. But I don't know. Seems like it's usually pretty okay. I think the meet and beat and maybe other large events. I don't know. I've never been to any other events at AOP. Maybe they get a little crazy, but I think that's with any event. That's gonna be what happens.
I like going to AOP on just a random fucking weekend though, because that park's generally pretty open. There's not like a ton of people that are there. If it's just a random weekend, you'll have, maybe 10, 15 trailers in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you're pretty much free to just go bebop wherever you want, and you might see one or two other people or a small group and, just play through. But besides the point here, going back to Wellsville, I know Tony Carnes has talked about Wellsville until we were tired of hearing about it. Love you, Tony. Lots of homo. But what about Wellsville makes it, yeah, all the gay. What about it's like the shit for you? Because, I see that on the back of the old tow rig.
Well, I've been going down there since I was a kid, and that's just been the place. And like I said, it used to be a lot cooler. I thought it was a lot cooler back when like rail buggies and that sort of thing was going on. Because like you drove down the trail and it'd be rail buggies, K5s, stock Geos, stock Samurais with just like ag tires and 250R, four wheelers, Banshees. Like it was just cool stuff. And I mean, it's a free for all. It really is. But that's also why we love it. Times have changed quite a bit. But I mean, dude, I can't tell you the amount of times that me and my buddies have like been out on the trailer, like, why is it getting light out? And like by the time we roll in the camp, we don't even got the headlights on anymore. And that's just what's fun about it. It's been like some AOP. long nights.
God
and you hate yourself the next day, but sometimes I'd never fail. We do it again on like Saturday night and Sunday morning. We're rolling in the camp like, damn it, dude, we gotta leave today. Like, what are we doing out here?
Like, fuck, one of us has to drive home, or all of us have to drive home.
We all have to drive home. Like, we gotta get a little bit of sleep here. But it's awesome. Like, I got a bunch of buddies. I've met so many people down there over the years, and it's been good. But like I said, it was better in years past. It's still fun, and it's the closest place to us. So it's our home park, and they're kind of lucky that it doesn't have rules, because like we have another park. It's called Southington Off Road, and then they have so many rules. It's not even funny. It's open like once a month, and you'll wear the place out very quickly. Lots of mud, and I don't like mud at all.
I can understand and respect that.
So like when when it rains like it did at Good Evening, like last time I went down there, it was like a desert. I was like, sweet. I didn't even have to wash the truck when I got home. This time, like I had the buggy all waxed and polished and everything. We get there, and it just was nice the first day, and after that, it just rained and rained and rained. And that thing, it's still. I spent probably 2 hours washing it. It's still just destroyed.
So, as a result of the AOP mud, I drilled 2 1/4 inch holes in my floor pan, and pressure washing the Jeep out from back to front, I was still able to clog them. And yeah, so I'm with you on not liking the mud.
Yeah, we'll avoid mud holes at any chance we can. And then I guess like back to the Wellsville thing. There's so many trails there that are just like, if you get on like an old trail, you could be going down and all of a sudden it just ends because like a landslide has happened or the trail's completely washed out, like to the point that the water just followed the truck roots and turned it into something you can't even get down anymore. So it's wild sometimes, some of the stuff you'll drop down.
That makes sense. Now I have to ask the question, because we got to get in it. Good. Yeah. I can't English tonight. We have to go after Graham's feelings here. Which is your preference, the Reds or the Treps?
So the only reason that the Toyota is on Reds is because I found a killer deal on a set of 39-inch Reds. Actually, every time I've come across a deal, it's been a set of Reds. And
That's
I came
interesting.
across.
Yeah.
They're plentiful. Everyone can have one. Or 4.
And I don't dislike the Reds. I do like the Reds. But on the Toyota, the Reds are not the best tire choice because you see a lot of Reds getting sidewalls killed. And I'm worried it's going to happen to the set that's on it. Because, like I said, I literally drive the truck by braille. So, like, I will just rail a rock and be like, oh, yeah, hey, that's over there. Don't go that way again.
I agree with that, but I also haven't had a sidewall fail on it. So I don't, and I've like not been nice to them in the past. How many years have I had them on there? 2?
2?
With
Yeah, you got your Reds right
junky,
around when I
steely
got
bead
mine.
locks that 100% should be like ripping
Condemned?
the bead off of them. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's possible. Just like every tire is possible to slice a bead, but the beauty of a red is you can always just get it vulcanized. You're never gonna have a ton of air in it.
See, we don't have anywhere around here that vulcanize the tire.
Oh, really? Well, it's usually if I had to like look and didn't know someone who knew where to get it vulcanized, right? Like my first start would be to just find like big truck tire places and ask and see if they have a guy, because most of them do have a guy, and if you tell them that this is like
It's
for my
off-road
rock
only.
crawler, yeah, that's not on the road, like it doesn't need to be it like you can patch the sidewall and not worry about me driving this on the highway like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like that's usually all they ask, and they'll do it because it's more common for stuff like that, for the heavier duty tires or ag tires or anything like that, right? So that'd be where I'd start. And it's usually pretty cheap.
Yeah, I will say that.
I think it was before the podcast started. I killed 2 39s because I originally had the Toyota's bounced around to so many different sets of tires. It's not even funny. It went from like 35-inch TSLs or something whenever it first started, all the way up to like 43-inch Iroks, and then it had 39-inch Reds on it. And then now we're back to 37-inch Reds. But I actually killed 2 37-inch Reds. That was my first set of stickies, and they were well worn in. But that was the set I wanted to try. I actually had wheel adapters stacked on top of wheel spacers to run the first set of Reds.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, how big was the spacer?
It was a 3-inch spacer with like a 1.5 inch or 2-inch wheel adapter.
Sick.
just sounds
Brother.
terrible.
Oh my god.
Have you and Graham just like become best friends? That sounds like some shit he would pull off.
And you know what? Like I hear all these horror stories about wheel spacers and stuff. I'm like, I will vouch that you can just put wheel spacers on it and you're fine. Like, maybe
Yeah,
down the
just,
road
like,
they're a little bit
check 'em.
sketchy, but in the woods,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you torque them and put the right Loctite and shit on them, I have not ever had an issue. The only issue I ever had was I actually sheared the studs off of an axle shaft, but I think that was a totally different
Yeah,
issue
probably stretched or
going on.
fatigued. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
Yep.
I've done that just with wheels on it, and that, like, anybody can do that with their Milwaukee M18 half-inch gun at setting
Yeah,
3.
you just zing them on
Fucking
and
at
you
Roush,
could
you
s-
goddamn imbecile.
Yeah, you can just snap those things right off. Like, you just gotta be smart about it. Torque your lugs.
I 100% agree with that. I have aluminum wheels on the truck too, and I torque them every single time I put them on.
Doesn't take
I
that much
have no
longer.
comment.
I mean, I don't.
The wheels
but,
on my
like, every
Jeep
wheel
are
I have
not
is.
fucking birded on until I forgot about it.
I just use setting 2. If you're gonna impact your wheels on and off, or off specific, or on specifically, setting 2, nothing more. And then you snug them and you're good. Don't need to go to setting 3. It's tight enough at 2. Never had a wheel fall off because of lug nuts. I have broken many lug studs because of setting 3. So,
Good fucking
like, all
time.
of them on one axle shaft. I was taking a wheel. I was reinstalling the lug nuts on this wheel, and I think at that point, no, I must have just had it in 3 accidentally, and I just put like 1, 2, or whatever on, and then I put the third one on, and I was just, I just let it sit for a couple seconds at, the end, just to make sure it's tight. You watch the thing stop moving, you wait a second, then I pull it off, and it snapped it. And then I did another one, it was good. Another one, it snapped it. I was like, what the hell? So then I just, like, was going around and purposely left it, like, hanging on the socket a little more, and it snapped every single one of them. They were just stretched because I'd been doing that at setting 3. So, yeah. Stupid. Also scary because, like, if they were at the shear point, it was, like, pretty low. Like, I didn't take a ton of effort with the impact to just snap them right off. Had I not found that and then, like, been driving it, this was when I was driving on the highway. That could have just sheared all my bolts off on the road. So don't do that. Keep the wheels on the bus.
I just glue them back on. Nobody will ever notice. It'll be fine.
No.
We used to drive our trucks, like back in high school, from up here all the way down to Wellsville. And we were down there wheeling one time, and the truck felt real loose. I almost lost. I think I lost all the lug nuts off the one wheel. We had to steal lug nuts off of all the corners, and like, I think we got into my toolbox. I found a couple lug nuts in there. And that was a scary ride home. The 2.5 hours ride home after wheeling it the whole weekend. It was just like, I think there's 4 lug nuts on every corner to get home with this.
Jeez. It's enough,
We didn't have a choice at that point. We didn't have a trailer, and
Yeah, you just gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah,
So,
we got
those
lucky
trips are
way
fun.
too many times.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got lucky as many times as we did looking back.
That's what makes that fun. I don't know. That's like, it's hard. There's like no other way to replicate that sort of experience other than, just to drive junk around and then have something break and have.
Well, I'd give anything, like, not the care in the world to go do that again. I'm just like, we didn't care. Like, you go wheeling for the weekend. The only thing you cared about was going wheeling for the weekend, and you just figure out the rest of it, like how to get home, how to get to work on Monday. Like,
that
you
was
just
all
figured it out.
an afterthought. Yep.
Yeah, it was.
That was a good time, but holy fuck, do I not miss also having to figure out how to get to fucking work in the morning.
That part, yes, that part sucked.
I remember like fucking going back to 2014 and shit, you know, like ripping fucking lockouts and stuff off because I had to drive. I had a Dana 44 under my XJ at that point in time. But like, you know, shit's broken in there. I don't feel like fixing it. I gotta drive it, so I'll just rip the fucking lockout off of it, stick a paper cup in there, and fucking duct tape it in place and go to work for the week. Yeah, good times. Not really.
Yeah. I never had to deal with those days. I pre-planned when I was building the rig.
Yeah. Speaking of,
Oh,
speaking
God.
of, your orbital's gonna be coming out soon.
Oh, fuck. Okay, let me know.
Yeah, you're
I got you.
no big deal.
I gotta spend $500 to get a tooth pulled, so like that shit's a little bit president. But then, yeah, I'm down.
I'm literally just giving you the fucking.
Oh, is that
orbital
tooth
shipping.
still giving you problems?
Dude, we could talk about the tooth another time. That shit's
Okay.
stupid. But yes, it's officially getting pulled tomorrow. Thank fucking Christ. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I had to get my wisdom teeth out, and that was pleasant.
But did they at least tell you the cost before you walked in the door that day?
Oh yeah, that was
they didn't do
$2,000.
that. They didn't do that for me. I walked in and I was like, "Oh, I'm here for my appointment." They're like, "Okay, yeah, the charge will be $375." Oh, well, it'll be that plus then for this and this, it'll be like about 500. I'm like, okay.
Typical doctors.
I was like, yeah, could you have told me that before I got here so I could have pulled the money out of the bank? Like what the fuck? So yeah. Yeah. Anyways, fucking stupid dentist.
Yeah, back to it though. I've got the 160 orbital sitting in the center console of the truck. If I'm not going to Harlan this weekend coming up, I'm gonna be swapping that on over.
To clarify, Nick did not give you the axle, did
Nick
he?
did not give me the axle. The axle was not present, but that doesn't.
Oh boy.
Well, he's 3
go on a
hours
road trip.
away. I can go on a road trip
Did he
on
bring
up
it
there.
to Kentucky?
He's going to.
Yeah, but that'd be like spending $10 to save $1 a gram for us to go on the road trip to grab it. Like we gotta have
That'd
more.
be cool though.
Yeah, but like it'd be literally $1,000 in fuel.
I get to drive my truck though. What are you talking about? $1,000? We're not towing a Jeep.
How? Yeah.
Hold on. Let's just see.
Hang on. Let's just give Graham's truck the benefit of the doubt here. We're gonna give it 20 miles to the gallon.
No, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
It's that unhappy?
It's not unhappy at all. It's very happy, minus the brakes. Those are melted down. But the gear ratio, maybe it might have. I'm hoping it was just the fact that the brakes were literally locked up to the point where I was basically doing a brake stand everywhere. But it's geared low. Like it's. I haven't driven it on the highway because I was breaking the clutch in poorly because I don't think doing a brake stand is good for your clutch, but probably not good for a braking period on a clutch anyways.
What for miles per gallon, you think?
I don't know.
20?
More than 10. Less than 20.
All right, 15.
All right, it would be about $300 in fuel for the road trip there.
Oh, that's not bad.
$320 in fuel. But more realistically, what's probably going to happen is I'm probably going to end up grabbing it at Harlan or having Logan grab it at Harlan, and then it's going to get parts trained up through some of the Irok people we know to Tony, so that way it'll end up a couple hours away.
Christ. This thing's like the little axle that's gonna get around. That thing's gonna be blown out by the time I get it. God,
it's going under a Cherokee. It's already blown out. The whole fucking Jeep's blown out. What difference does it fucking make? It's just the curtains matching the drapes.
Fuck, you're right. God damn it. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, hey, either way, honestly, that wouldn't be the end of the world for fucking $300 in fuel. If you really wanted to go for the drive, we could plan the trip. Fuck it, at this point. Let's go find you something to pick up in the meantime.
Yeah,
or maybe we'll find something to.
Or I could talk to Mike Craig, actually.
Yeah.
Just like we'll figure it out.
That's
I'll
also
get
an option. Yeah.
But sick. I'm excited. To get this shit rocking and rolling.
I'm excited to actually have like less than 4 turns of fucking steering lock to lock. That's gonna be weird.
How are you gonna do that without an orbital?
He's putting a new one in. You goober.
I'm going from 120 to 160 orbital. I have
Do
the
you even
orbital
have a
sitting in.
lock to lock with an orbital? I think it'll just spin indefinitely, does it not?
Fuck no. It hits the fucking end of the cylinder travel and stops.
You
Oh,
could
that's
start.
stupid.
Yeah.
Eh.
I mean, it'll start forcing things and breaking things.
It won't even do that. It just hits the fucking end of the cylinder and stops. I've got my steering
What if you had a
stops up.
non-load reactive? Wouldn't it technically just keep
I
going?
have a non-load reactive.
I'm pretty sure they
It
can
just
keep going.
stops. No,
Oh.
like you hit a point where the wheel will
I don't
not
know.
continue to turn.
I've never tried. I don't use that shit.
I did end up picking up a load reactive, but that's just because that's what Brad threw at me, and I wasn't really going to care. I'm gonna see what it does, and if it's problem, oh well, it was $200. I'll buy another fucking orbital.
That ain't bad.
No. By the
Oh.
way, you're getting a $200 orbital, so enjoy. It's great.
Oh, what the dude? I will pay you for it. What? You do not have to give it to me for free.
No, I'm fucking giving you shit because it's an orbital that's too small for my Jeep, and I don't give a fuck about it.
The funniest part is it's almost too fast for mine with the 6.5-inch throw.
Yeah,
And
with
then
the
it dropped me
6-inch
down to,
throw,
like,
it should be like 2 fucking
You complain about your
turns.
steering
It's
now.
2.25, bro. It's like it's gonna be so fast.
This orbital is on the fucking slow side for being even the size that it is, so it's probably
should
going to
be
be like
perfect.
2.5 turns lock to lock.
That actually might be sick. No, oh my God, Graham, you're right. But I mean, it's not gonna. Once that goes under it, I mean, honestly, once the stickies go under it, it's not gonna be driven down the road. Like, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
it's not
No,
like it does
it's over.
anyways. Put a B pillar hoop in anyway and be done.
Fuck you. All right.
Yeah, literally just throw a fucking hoop around the fucking front 2 seats and pull a Caleb Spillane and turn it into fucking mincemeat.
So wait, whoa. Sorry again, Garrett. I apologize that we're going off on this tangent. But hold
You're
on.
good.
I mentioned the idea of doing a B hoop with like down supports for the back for like a C support almost, and then like figuring out like a mini halo in the interior with like A supports. And you guys are like, that's
You're going too far.
retarded.
You're going too far.
That's
B pillar.
retarded."
B pillar.
That's
If you're
it.
gonna do nothing,
Go
just do a
forward
B pillar
support?
hoop so you don't die.
And then what? Just do like maybe
You
door
might get
support?
glass in your eyes, but you won't die.
Fuck the glass. Pull the glass beforehand, or a little blowout before I even get to its side.
Yeah, exactly.
Who needs eyes? I got a spare.
If you want to
I'm
like
still-
actually spend the time and do a cage, then just do a
I do
hybrid like you
at
have
some
to on a Cherokee to have any headroom
Yeah.
because of the floor.
Yep,
Literally, the
I
floor
was-
is your limit.
The sky.
My thing with it is just fucking get some form of support in there and fucking
Just
get
so I
back
don't
to
die.
wheeling it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna wheel
Well-
it before the supports even go in. But go ahead, sorry, Garrett.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, I mean, if you're already gonna do the B, you almost might as well just carry it over
Yeah,
roof.
just do the whole thing.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
you're what, like 3 more tubes at least to keep the cab from crushing.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're absolutely
least-
right. The plan is now that the cost of tube has gone down since COVID, $15 a fucking in foot prices. It's definitely the works. It's just a matter of steps to get there for sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
I get that.
I ended up buying tube just to have tube. Not because I need fucking tube, but because like having a spare 3 sticks for the boys to use whenever they need tube it was like $280. Fuck
that
it.
ain't
I
bad
can
at all.
60 feet of tube for that. That's a lot of fucking XJ drive shafts and fucking David, once again, gonna break the fucking fourth wall here. Put the fucking SYE in it. Take
Wait,
the
who's
spare
David?
Cherokee drive shaft and just take some of that tube and fucking stretch it. Call it good.
Who's
Anyways,
David.
So-
the dude that fucking gets us our stickers and
Oh, sorry.
yeah, he's a
I
cool
didn't
dude.
know his name.
You were saying, Garrett?
I was just gonna add my 2 cents in.
Oh, yeah.
So I did the whole no cage rollover thing, and we were actually that's how the orange truck came to be what it is, because me and my brother where it was the last trip of the season. We flipped the truck with no cage in it. And we dropped down sometimes like, oh, it's just going to land on the driver's side door. No big deal. I'll put a new door on it. And we're going to build a tube bed and exo cage the truck because the cab was still just immaculate.
Mm-hmm.
But
we landed the truck completely upside down on the
Okay.
lid. And it was the B pillar to the hood was just a straight line. There was no like roof anymore to the cab. So we had to like high lift the cab back up, but we wheeled it the rest of the weekend. But when we got home, then it was like, okay, now what do we do with the truck? Do we put a new cab on it? And I actually did everything to buy a new cab and was going to swap the truck. And then I just decided that, no, we already ruined this one. Let's keep ruining it. And we put the internal cage in it, and we've straightened the body so many times to accept the windshield. But where I was going with this is just like, just at least put a cage over you, because like anything can happen at any point in time.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But also, just think about it this way. If you roll, like, let's say Graham rolls his rig, right? He's got to pick up glass. He's got to roll it back over because he has a cage. If I don't have a cage and it squishes me, it is not my problem to pick that shit up. So, like, it's kind of a win-win. I'm just saying.
I mean, if you want to look at it that way, yeah, sure.
No, that's dark. I'm just teasing. But, you're absolutely right. Just a matter of getting there for sure.
No, I get that. Like I said, we were coming home to do all that, and plans definitely changed, but it's been fun.
So this is probably a bad look on me, but I haven't seriously needed the cage yet. But holy fuck, am I glad that I've had it for all of the fucking times that I've just done something stupid and had that little bit of reassurance that I could try and drive out of it. Or when I have actually put it on its side. One time was on purpose, just fucking around. The other time was just a nice, gentle flop, but it didn't fucking matter. And it was just nice. Get it back onto its own feet again and call it a day.
Well, I don't think my truck has been 100% upside down again since I've done the roll cage. But like you said, the peace of mind is there, and the amount of just dumb shit that we've just wedged the truck into for no reason and driven it on its side, it's like, well, it's there.
Yeah, none of the flops that it's had have been like fucking massive or major or anything fucking remotely cool. I've driven out of more serious shit than my fucking flops have been, to be honest. But like so at Good Evening Ranch, where the V notch is when you come out of can opener.
Yes.
Okay. So I drove around the backside of that and drove myself up onto my side, and Logan, Outlaw XJ with the red XJ was my passenger. He ended up passing me, and I still was able to drive out of that. Like, he was hanging out over the top of my head, and the Jeep was resting on its roof bars, but hey, it was still able to back out of it and drive out of it. So that was kind of cool.
Nice.
And in the future, Cody, that'll just be helpful towards your, especially because I've seen your driving.
Dude, I've only gotten close to flipping like 4 times in the
in
last
one weekend.
Yeah. Every time I've gone out.
So you say you drive the orange truck by Braille, right?
Yes.
Cody's got a Dana 30 and 44. That man drives by Braille with the fucking diff tubes. And he's got actual clearance. So it's fucking shocking the amount of times that his diff is just into something. He's giving it gas and using the front like pumpkin as a ramp to just bebop himself on up something, and then the driver's tire gets incredibly light, so he finds a reverse real fast.
hey, I learned from the best when Graham had the Dana 50. All right, when you figure out what the pumpkin is, then you're like, okay, if it hits a rock, then that rock was taller than you thought, and then you just keep going through it, and it's the best.
So I actually had to upgrade the orange truck to trail gear housings front and rear, which the trail gear housing is kind of similar to a Fab 9 housing in a way, except it just takes the Toyota diffs.
Those are
'Cause
actually really fucking cool. On a side
I
note,
love them. And
that offset pumpkin shit is or offset diff tube shit they've got going on is fucking wild.
yeah, it might not be the most clearance, but I mean they did everything they could give you just that much more out of it. But
So just for everyone listening that doesn't know, the location of the axle shaft in the trail gear housings is set lower, and the burr field is welded on lower, so that way it gives more clearance, kind of like a baby portal. I think it gives like an extra inch clearance, inch and a half of clearance.
I don't think it's that much, but it's more clearance than what you would get out of the stock housing, for sure. And they are so much more beefier than the stock housing.
Yep.
So the front axle housing in the orange truck, we bent it, and I had it all fully trussed and everything. I think the only thing I didn't have was the knuckleball gusset, and then that one got toast. So I put a trail gear front housing in it out of another truck that we had that I never finished. And then when I was down at Good Evening with Jake and Craig, I actually I didn't rip, I bent the housing face for the third member bolts to the rear axle housing. So at that point, it was an excuse to buy the matching trail gear rear housing. So now the truck's got the trail gear housings front and rear, and they are so much thicker than the stock housing.
Yeah, isn't the stock housing like just factory stamped? Oh fuck, it's on the tip of my tongue. The millimeter version, 3.5 millimeter fucking stamped housing.
I don't know what the actual thickness is, but they're not very thick, and they are known to bend. And then like you have to buy like all the diff armor and stuff because you smash where the third member bolts in, where like your diff cover would go. You just smash those right in the ring and pinion, wipe ring and pinions out. So they had all the diff armor and shit, but that
All you're
only goes
doing at
so
the
far.
moment, though, is selling me more so on cheap junkyard tons.
So when I built my Toyota axles, and I'm 100% 4 tons at this point, because when I first got into the Toyotas, everyone just told me, go to tons, go to tons. I was like, no, like tons are expensive. When I was building Toyota axles, you could build Toyota axles for about half the cost of what you could build a set of tons for. But now I'm so far deep into my Toyota axles that I'm just like, I'm not willing to go to the tons because the truck is so bent and the frame's even bent and everything else. It's not worth cutting it apart to put 1 tons under it. It just needs to live on the Toyota axles for the rest of its life.
Yep.
Yeah, it's working on removing itself from existence, basically.
Yeah, you'll have that with
Yes, but
tons
no.
or tons too. If anything, that accelerates it to an extent because you got more weight floating around.
You do, but
And it's so much. Go ahead.
alternatively, they give much less of a fuck as well. You know, you and I have both
The
fucking
axles
used
might, but the body on
I'm
the
talking about the
vehicle
axle,
applied
though.
to it does.
The vehicle applied to it does, but nothing gives a flying fuck when you're wheeling it. That's how you end up with everyone ending up with buggies. There's a reason that, like, everything falls apart. You can build a fucking nice-ass JK, and if you beat the fucking brakes off of it, it's still gonna come apart. Even Sam's shitbox JK that was, like, all tube was trying to tear itself apart repeatedly.
Mm,
You
that's
know,
fair.
like, everything's got a fucking shelf life. The chassis that we're using are absolute junk if we're being brutally honest with ourselves, and we only cobble them back together so that way we can get back into the fucking woods. And, you know, like, yeah, tons are going to kill the shitbox a lot quicker. But there's things that you can do to mitigate that. Like, I went and did the whole front end thing, and, well, it might not be the prettiest thing in fucking existence. It stiffened the unibody up considerably. It stopped making banging and popping noises like it used to coming out of the trans tunnel and the firewall, because now everything up there is all tied in.
You want to know what really kills the Cherokee?
Owning it.
Tons and red
Rust.
labels. That'll fuck your Cherokee's day up.
I think you could even go as far as tons and stickies.
Yes. That fucked mine fucking right to shit.
Oh god,
Tons and stickies on any vehicle.
30 and stickies gonna do. I'm fucking cooked, boys. I'm fucking cooked.
You know, and the worst part about it though, Cody, is right. Like, you're at this weird point where you may end up hitting some magic fucking elements here, because, you know, you can still play around on the different lines than what everyone else would be forced to take, because you're limited by the fact that it's 35s and a small wheelbase rig. You know, it's factory wheelbase plus what? Fucking an inch and a half for the front and 3/4 in the back, so call it a 2-inch stretch overall. So you're sitting at a 103 wheelbase on 35s that are now stickies. You're just going to end up deciding to chew the body to shit and not give a fuck about it.
You don't have sliders, right?
No, so that's
I wouldn't do them. I honestly wouldn't do them, because you'll get a boat side out of it.
What am I going to do for A supports for the front or for the cage? That's the big kicker right there, is like, do I just fucking say fuck the windshield and just drop it straight down through the dashboard? Like,
that's
you know
not
what I mean?
really going to help you, because the frame quote unquote isn't doing much either.
Yeah, so I almost kind of have to. And
no,
honestly, God,
you don't have to. You just need to build a box. It doesn't have to be as
you and this cube thing, man. What's going on, Graham? You got this little. He's got a little worm in his brain that wants him to build a tube cube for me.
Well, I'm being dead serious though.
You
like,
just
you
said,
don't.
build
I would just
actual support off the side of the unibody.
You could almost do like tubes off the side of the unibody and a tube behind the rocker. And
he doesn't have enough rocker left for that.
Oh,
They're
okay.
flat.
Oh no, the rocker's gone. Yeah, rocker gone.
Rockers are
really, all I would think you would need is, you have stiffeners, right?
Yes. Yeah,
okay, so yeah, that's a start. So you can attach to the stiffeners. I'd be comfortable with some like minor modifications to like how it could tie in with the stiffener.
Sliders. I just do boat side sliders. Like,
yeah, but that'd be cooler if you just let it crumple and turn it into a raisin.
I'm definitely down for the crumple, right? Like,
it's still gonna crumple. You act like sliders are this thing that's going to save it. No, the fuck
bottom
they're not.
of my Jeep doors are the best part of them.
Yes, exactly, and that's perfectly fine. It's okay to have something to slide the fucking side of the Jeep down while you crush the A to the fucking D pillar. It doesn't matter. Let it go.
Thing is when the rockers are so crushed, but then the door gets crushed to match, and it's like, that door's not gonna open. Then you're like, open. It looks like a fucking zipper across the bottom, but it matches perfectly. It's my favorite thing. But no, I think there just needs to be a lot of brainstorming that goes into actually doing the cage if I don't go that route. But I do really want to do the route of, especially, this is something that me and Luke discussed a while back, was doing that Clayton 4-link and then doing the belly skid. So that way it all fucking matches, all flows. I no longer have to worry about trying to back up over shit and it catching the cross member.
Yeah, you can just bash the fuck out of the bottom of that rig at that point and fucking tie the so the other point about doing sliders that I like actually really like is they end up being the backbone of the rig. At this point in time, there's more shit running to my sliders than there is to the actual frame rails. Like, the 4-link brackets are tied into the sliders. The 3-link brackets are tied into the sliders. The cage is tied into the sliders. The body is tied into the sliders. They're like the fucking nexus of where everything connects on my shit. So I'd rather have them than not.
You got a good point. I think we'll just have to brainstorm when the time comes.
Yeah, fucking mount them at an angle. Who gives a fuck if they're at an angle and
If I
fucking
get like a
sitting in
spare
there?
6 months with my Jeep at some point, I'm gonna cut out so much shit. And the rockers get to live, but a lot of what mounts them does not. So I don't know. Rockers like aren't the end. The sliders aren't the end all be all. Like if
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna stick
disagree.
at a certain point, like they're great, but like they only get you so far in like the way that people put them normally.
I mean, they're not perfect on my rig, but they help hold my fucking rig together, so I don't have a problem with them. They can be ugly in there, and they're doing their job, and they hold everything in place, and they give me something to step on to get into the Jeep.
Mine are barely
Life is
doing their
good.
job. They're fucking bending.
Oh, mine are bending too, but like I just said
So it's
about
not
the
doing its
chassis.
job. It's fucking bending.
Dude,
You can't have the
you are
structure be on the
slamming
outside. You slam
6,000
it.
pounds with 150 horsepower
Yeah.
propelling it into a fucking rock.
I know.
Eventually, everything is going to bend. Nothing under them fucking is built to, like, actually withstand shit. If you look at the shop kid phenomenon, he keeps throwing heavier and heavier shit in there, and it just keeps moving where shit's fucking breaking. And I'm not saying that to dog on Shop Kid,
phenomenon.
but, like, Shop Kid's rig just keeps getting heavier and heavier, and he keeps cutting more off of it and putting heavier shit under it to keep it intact. I mean,
I
I
think
might
we've
be
all
wrong
had.
about
I think
that.
a lot of us have all been through the shop kid dilemma, and then once you reach a critical point, you're like, it's time to lose some weight.
Yeah, and I'm at the point now where
and then
my
you
rig
start
needs
cutting.
to lose weight.
I don't know.
I don't need 3 C-pillars,
No, you don't.
but I have them.
That's excessive.
Yeah, well, it just happened that way, okay? It was supposed to be... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I think, unfortunately, in our hobby, that there is no end all be all. There is no bulletproof one and done rig, because at some point in time, it's gonna wear out.
I'm gonna be
with what we
honest
do.
with you. You could probably kill a Jesse Haynes fab buggy too.
Yeah, I
Charlie
100%
fucking
agree.
Melchner with his Jesse Haynes fab chassis getting re-welded and all of that shit. And that's a purpose-built rock buggy that he uses for purpose, activities. Like he uses it in We Rock, he uses it in X Rock, and that's basically it. It's not like it's seeing the same stresses that you would on a trail car, and that thing's still trying to tear itself apart.
You
The
wedge
fucking
them into places that they should not be, and they just, at some point, shit's gonna start bending. It's gonna start cracking. It's gonna fatigue. I mean, even if you twist it all the way to the point of like bump stops, you're putting stress through the chassis, and it's gonna fatigue over time.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why every Cherokee that's rolling around and every old Toyota has some fucking heinous noise that you just kind of go, whatever, and fucking ignore.
That's my buddy's. One of my buddies that we were with, he's got a first gen Toyota, and we have added front frame stiffeners and everything, and the frame is gorgeous. Like, it's not rotted out. Like, that's not why we've added the supports. It's because the frame has just been fatigued from just getting completely twisted to the point that, like, there's no bump stops on the trucks. So they just slam the tires up into the firewall and just try to bend the shit out of everything in its way. And they crack over time. I mean, metal just, it fatigues.
So like I think it's always going to be a losing battle, and like on the hardcore XJ side of things, the chassis fatiguing out. The reason that I say that the stiffeners are important is because they're one of the few areas where they might bend and they might buckle, but they're not going to just fatigue out to the point where you get the spider web cracking that's really common on XJs. And like, I was talking about how when I cut that section out of my trans tunnel and shined a flashlight at it, you could see light through it. where it was all just cracked to shit, you know, it's a Cherokee. It's what they fucking do.
It's just transmitting the force throughout the whole body. I mean, that's why they're unibody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I cut my roof holes, they used to be tight. Like, I think, Cody, you helped me hammer them through because we ended up with like a slightly undersized hole saw to get the B-pillar bounced down where they had to be.
Yes.
You know, so like they were literally hammer fit, and now you can stick your finger all the way around all of the holes through my roof just because the body has been bashed and the cage has been bashed so many times that they're just like moving. And there's nothing I can do about that.
Damn.
On a side note to that though, I do have to ask on the Toyota, do you when you build a cage or put the cage into one of them, how do you tie that in? Is it like a sandwich plate through the floor to the frame rail to just kind of basically make an over-glorified, unboltable unibody?
So this truck was my whole learning experience truck. This is the first one I actually like built. I've had several Toyotas, but like this is the one that I did all the work to. And I can't say I did 100% right because this was the first roll cage I ever did too. So for my B pillars, what I did is I built like a sandwich plate to the cab mount on the chassis. And I did my B pillar off of that. And then my A pillar ties through the floor into the rock slider. Well, over time of wheeling the truck, the bed got really bent up. So I cut the bed apart and I actually did a B pillar that then ties into the rock slider and then made a tube bed structure that my bed sides bolt onto. So now I have two B pillars. One ties to the cab mount, one is directly off the frame, off the rock slider. And then my next step is going to be adding on to the front half of the frame to add a little bit of tube structure. I kind of just, like everyone else, just keep adding tube to try to keep the frame from the fatigue of just getting stressed over time.
That's how you do it. Just gotta change out factory shit for tube, and then just tie it into what you already have. It's kind of crazy how how it kind of goes. Initially, you're trying to figure out how to attach things firmly to your cab or your body or your unibody or whatever it is, and then it turns into you're just attaching the body to the tube, and everything's attached to the tube as it should be.
I can't say that what I did is right, but I feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no real winning with it because, like you were saying, eventually you just end up attaching the body more so to the tube than the other
If
way
you want
around.
the body, if you choose to keep a body, you're just putting body panels on a tube chassis at that point. At one point, you only have 2 feet of frame rail or unibody or whatever, and
I don't
it's
want
just there
any
as a
unibody.
convenience. Yeah, it's just there as a convenience to the initial starting point that was at one point a normal.
At one point in time,
car.
I could drive this down the road happy.
You still could do an alignment, bring it over to town fair, get your alignment.
I don't even think they would know where to fucking start.
What are you talking about? There's jam nuts and wheels. I think they can figure it out.
I don't know. At one point I went to like just a little. It wasn't like a name brand shop. It was just a shop, and they looked at it and they were like, "We can't do it because it's aftermarket." I was like, "Okay." I didn't think that there was any difference between.
They're fucking liars.
Yeah,
It's
just didn't want
amazing.
to. It's a liability thing, I'm sure. At least around
Well,
here.
these shops anymore too, like they can't do what they used to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, well, that's because they get their fucking pee-pee smacked if they get out of fucking line by lawyers and fucking limp dick people that fucking
Well,
want to
also,
make
I
some
mean,
money off of a fuck up.
before you go straight to the limp dickness, you know, I mean, maybe it is like adding to it, but like, think about the kind of vehicles that you need to service, like day in day out. Like, it's not gonna be a custom '90s fucking Jeep Cherokee on stupid big axles and fat
Stupid
tires.
duties.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a 2019 Honda Civic that you can just plug in. And it'll tell you like, hey, I need an oil change and a fill up on the washer fluid, or whatever parts go wrong on those cars. Like change out my $300 windshield wiper
motor
sensor or whatever. Right? Like it's just different, and I think like your general technician is just a different skill set now than they did.
Well,
10,
I mean,
15, 20 years ago.
There are still the experienced shops out there that can do it, but they can't do it because their fucking hands are basically tied as far as what they can work on for insurance purposes, and hence the remark about fucking limp dick lawyers. Like it's not the fucking 90s anymore. We're closer to 2050 than we are to the fucking 90s,
No,
unfortunately.
we're not.
Yeah, we are.
No, we got a month left. Actually, 2 weeks. 2 weeks and a day, ish, and then you can say that we're close to 2050.
So we're like almost in 1990. Graham, I need you to think about that. 35 years.
Oh no, I thought you were
25.
saying 2000.
This guy retarded.
I have the paperwork for this, Graham, and yet I'm the one that fucking caught that. What the fuck?
Well, you just picked a weird fucking number, dude. I don't know. Get your limp dick lawyers at it. I'll call my limp dick lawyer on you.
Okay.
You have to call your limp dick lawyer and they can have a chat.
Oh,
that just sounds ridiculous. I'm not even going to bother entertaining that. We are rapidly devolving. I apologize. This is our specialty, though. Like, we've been recording for an hour and a half or something like that at this point.
More than that. It's got to be more than that. What's the bot say?
I don't know what the fucking bot
2
says.
hours, but technically we started.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing good.
We started pretty quick after we started recording.
Yeah, we were like fucking on point almost. Is this where like we talk about Crawler Off-Road and fucking mention Joey Urban, or do we say fuck those guys?
Really quick.
I mean, sure.
All right. What is your favorite, or pardon me, actually, let me restructure this a little bit.
Oh, he's restructuring.
What do you think, in your personal opinion, is the best DOT off-road tire, and what is the worst DOT off-road tire? You don't even have to rate it yourself, but just from experience of wheeling.
Okay, so for me, it's a tie between a BF Goodrich KM1, which is the original mud terrain, and a Bias by Irok.
As your
favorite? I knew it was going to be a fucking Irok because he's a goddamn Toyota guy.
Dude, they flat out work. I'm telling you.
This guy's crazy, I swear.
The spectrum of people,
Bias by Iroks, they flat out work. It has
the spectrum
to be a
of people
by,
who
though.
love and hate the Irok is hilarious. I have nothing against them. They are great tires.
Like them.
They're just rock hard, and I can't think of a use case for them in like the things that I've done.
You can't kill them. You cannot kill them. Tires.
I still want to try a set of the Irok stickies in like a 42, but let's be real here. I fucking signed my name onto Mickey Thompson, so I'm gonna continue to fucking
you're gonna be stuck
Mickey
on
Thompson.
them.
So I have a buddy that has one of my projects I never completed, and he has the Irok stickies on it, and he has killed like 3 of them.
Never mind, I'm sticking with my fucking Mickeys. That was easy.
I don't know if it has to do with his homemade steel beadlocks or what, but he has killed like 3 sidewalls.
Dang.
That's obnoxious. So I've got a question for you. What is the Toyota magic? Is it just the fact that like they weigh 3,500 pounds, they've got nothing but gearing, and generally they have dumb tires?
He didn't even finish my question.
Sorry.
It's all good.
There is something about the Toyota Leaf Spring bounce that just you catch the right bounce and it will piss someone off with a $50,000 buggy.
Yes, it will.
Yep.
And it just happens.
The Leaf
And
Spring
I've
bounce
done
is
it.
legendary.
It is.
And I love it. And that's why I leave my truck on Leaf Springs. And that truck will live on Leaf Springs pretty much till the day it dies, is what my goal is.
We're at S'more, and Graham's got Leaf Springs. I have a fancy 4-link that I spend a lot of time figuring out how to get the geometry right on and like all this other shit. My rear axle kept falling out into a hole on a trail called Puppy Liquor where you have to like crawl this bowl. And I've hit it
like
in
a puppy.
Yep, and like a puppy while you're crawling into the bowl. So I've hit it for like my third time, like it's just popping second gear rev limiter and going for a ride to go absolutely nowhere, other than like just skate across to the opposite edge of the bowl.
Like bellied. I don't know what we were stuck on. It was like
I couldn't get the rear tire to crawl.
It was slick. That's what it was. Yeah, the fronts would be up, but it's a ledge. It's a hard ledge, and you kind of just barely don't have the traction.
Yep. And so I'm beating on this, and fucking Luke Kennedy, Kentucky XJ, I think's his Instagram name. Fucking seen it on Instagram. Anyways, he doesn't tell you to stop, but he was telling me to stop. And at that point in time, I accepted that it was just time to pull cable. So then Graham comes up, and I think it was first shot, he didn't quite make it. Second shot, just lucky Leaf Spring bounce and was up it. Meanwhile, I've been trail plugging this thing for like the last 5 minutes, just beating the fucking brakes off of it. And ever since then, I get to hear about how Leaf Springs are fucking awesome.
So we're at Good Evening, and I'm gonna call a new line because I don't remember seeing this last time we were there, out of Cripple Creek off the right side. And the night before we were in Cripple Creek, and this Leaf Sprung Samurai on Reds comes through and just bounces right up the right line. And the next day we have the Zook down in there, and Sierra's driving it, and we cannot get her through there. And at the end of it all, she ended up breaking a stub shaft trying to get the Zook out of the exit.
Mm.
And it wasn't happening. But yet the night before, someone in a Leaf Sprung Zook, another Samurai, just right up through there. And it was awesome. Now, there was a lot of rev limiter, and we took a slightly different approach, but it did the Leaf Spring bounce right up through, and it was the coolest thing to watch.
Yeah, the obstacle doesn't matter if you're just jumping over it.
Because your suspension's from fucking
But it made it.
90.
If your suspension can't react fast enough to see what hit it, then sometimes your tires just end up in the right spot. That's all that
There
matters.
is a math to Leaf Springs, though. I will say that, because I've changed out the Leaf Springs in my truck several times and stuff. And there is the right and the wrong spring. I will say that.
And you can, like, to make, like, in certain applications, you can compete with a Leaf Spring rig in comparison to like a 4-link rig, like in Go Fast stuff, or in, I'm sure in like with the Chevy 63s, you can probably test and tune to get some very equivalent setup to a 4-link in some way, right? But you probably end up spending about as much time and money doing that than just doing a 4-link. In a lot of ways, to like make it work exactly as you want it and be predictable. But sometimes the fun thing with them is just to have a little bit of unpredictability and bounciness and hard hits.
I think that's why I like wheeling the orange Toyota over the Zook, though, is because it is, when you do put that $50,000 to $70,000 rig to shame with the bounce, it is the greatest thing in the world.
Oh yes,
it is the greatest thing in the world.
So going back in time about a fucking year or so, there was a dude that was at AOP in a busted knuckle buggy just bebopping around, and he goes, "Yeah, I couldn't make it up Trail 65, and we're on our way to go drop into Trail 65 and come out of the top of Trail 65 after idling through it." And he's sitting at the top, and he goes, "Yeah, that was some nice driving. It's real wet. Uh, good job." And then just gets in the fucking rig and bebops on down Trail 2. It's one of the best feelings.
Money can't buy
performance. Wait. Luck?
Huh?
I was gonna say money can't buy performance, but that's really fucking wrong.
Money can buy performance. You can't buy driving skill.
Yeah, and it's bad when I'm able to fucking have some driving skill.
Well, we put my wife in the Samurai one night, and we put my wife and her best friend in the Samurai, and it was me and my buddy in the Toyota. And so 2 women and us were in the Toyota, and we were going up something in Wellsville, and we like hung a tire in the air for a minute, and it was sketchy. And like we pulled up, and we pull off to the side, and we were expecting like have to spot them. I couldn't even get my belts off and out of the truck, and I turned around, and my wife is right behind me in the Zook. I was like, "This is bullshit." Like that was the one time that the Zook was like did its thing, and the Toyota did its other thing, where the Leaf Springs did not do their thing. It's like, okay, yeah, you got the better one of the two this weekend.
Yep.
Well, real quick on that note, go check out our friends over at Crawler Off-Road. BCOP 10 gets you 10% off at checkout. And if you need any off-road parts, check out Urban 3D. Tell him that we sent you on over there, and he might hook you up. Who knows? He's kind of
all right.
cool
I'll
like
have to do so.
So tell us real quick about the YouTube channel.
So, we had 2 kids, and we've talked about it for a long time, and finally we just decided that it was time to do it. And with my wife being home, she is the main editor of everything. I try to take videos, but I'm not very good at it. She's a little bit better at it than I do. And yeah, she just does all the editing. We're going to try and come out with some merch this year. We did pretty good our first year for what it was. And if nothing else, like we were thinking like how cool it'd be, like, the end goal would be cool to make something of it. But if not, we're the people that would come home at the end of the weekend with like 5 pictures from the whole weekend. And now it gives you the excuse that like you have to try to capture the weekend. So now there's a story behind all the weekends, and there's video evidence to like be able to go back and go back with, and like we don't just try to get the trucks, we try to get kind of what goes on at camp a little bit and stuff to kind of get that memory of you and your friends and stuff too. So it's not just all wheeling. It's, I don't know. It was cool because like I can go back and watch the video of like when we went to Good Evening Ranch for the first time. Because if we didn't have that, if we didn't have the YouTube channel, I bet you I'd have like 5 pictures of all that and no videos, no nothing. But now there's something to go back on.
Yep.
The biggest thing that like we have the Instagram page, the Blue Collar Off-Road page, and it's always a struggle for us because it's hard to just keep up with getting pictures and videos because we are very much that group of people that shows up and then like the phones disappear because we're all focused on whatever shit show that we have going on at the moment. I'm not going to say it's directly wheeling related unless we bring Cody.
Yeah, I was about to say, motherfucker, every time I go, it's like a conglomerate of like 400
500
photos.
pictures.
Yeah. So you watch your tone, mister. I'm looking at you, Luke. But no,
Yeah, but
you are
you have
right.
to
Even
come out
sometimes.
for that to happen.
Okay,
So
okay, whoa. Now you're stepping on the wrong area, brother. How many times have I gone out without my rig? Too many. So
Friendly
but no,
fire, friendly fire.
no, but you are right. Even dude, even times when I bring the camera, sometimes I'm just like fuck. Like when last time we went to Field and Forest, if I start spotting, I'm done. There's no photos being taken, and then it's just
Yeah.
all of a sudden I'm stuck the spotter for the rest of the whole fucking weekend. Eh, Pardon me, every fucking time. So
So
you're right.
my suggestion is get an action camera because we did the same thing. Whereas like we didn't film anything even with our phones and stuff. It finally took getting an action camera and kind of just taking the initiative to go, hey, we need to film this. This kind of has to happen.
when you say
So
action camera, you mean like a GoPro or like a DJI or whatever?
yeah, so yes, I just went generic with that. We
Yep.
have a DJI.
Okay.
But yes, just and that's I don't know how this next video is going to turn out because I was doing a lot of spotting with Sierra, and there was a lot of kind of heated moments because she couldn't hear me over the truck. We kind of learned some stuff from this trip that like we need radios to communicate if we're gonna try to do this whole actual rock crawling thing and have her or even me driving. Like you can't just yell over the truck. That doesn't work. And then we're kind of
Yeah.
we'll see how this turns out.
Been
But
there. I
anyhow,
think we've all been there.
I think we're all
the
still
action
there.
camera, though, it kind of adds the. I don't know why, but it kind of adds the hey, I have to get this out and film.
Yeah.
Whereas your phone, you're just like, you don't want to pull it out because you feel like you're just gonna
Yeah,
start
it's your phone. Yeah.
texting or doing whatever. When we go wheeling, we're trying to get away from all that. We're trying to get away from everything that's going on,
Yep.
and that's why we do it.
I think for us that could work really well, right? Because like we could literally do a vlog with zero talking to the camera and then just overlay the podcast over it. You know what I mean? Like something as simple as that could then create a whole new demographic for us. And that would be really interesting for somebody on the video side of things and trying to recreate that, where then you would almost have to then like monologue voiceover over it and then learn to then record, take video, edit, and then almost podcast, where like we already kind of like learned the hard side. Interesting. I never really thought about that, but that would be unique on both sides of the coin.
Well, you're going to be so enthusiastic about what's going on anyhow. Like, have you ever you've never told a wheeling story in monologue? Or, no excitement to your voice. Whenever you tell a wheeling story, you're excited about it. You want to tell someone about it. So, like, you could overlay the podcast because you're going to get excited and just kind of explain what's going on.
And the funny part about that is I have a monotone and I still can't fucking do that. Every time I talk about wheeling, I actually have to put some form of inflection in a little bit.
But you can tell when you get excited still. Like you can tell when there's a topic though that like gets you going.
There's a little self-degradation going on there because it's just funny at this point. Like it doesn't affect me, so I like to make fucking jokes about it because like I'm still living life, and it's also just wheeling. So like put those two together and you're gonna get excited as fuck about it.
Yeah.
It's got all the right things to touch my tism.
But hell yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck with all that, man. Finding, especially if you can start monetizing it and getting that shit rocking and rolling. And also, once you start ironing out all the kinks, like that's something that we like had to struggle with in the beginning, right? Like finding our niche, finding our flow, finding what works for us and what doesn't. Like all of that takes so long to get to.
Yeah.
But then, dude, once you're there, it kind of just fucking works. Like you can then do what you enjoy while then continuing to do the media side of it. And for us, it's a little bit different, right? Like we could just do whatever, then talk about it later. And I could imagine that would get really difficult for video side of things, where it's like without that video, talking about it dulls it compared to the rest of the video. But still, like, I think there's a lot of fun that can come from that, and it could just change wheeling entirely for you in hopefully a good direction. But still, just a kind of a new, unique thing for you guys to tackle. That sounds awesome.
So I will say real quick that like I do see like why the YouTubers that like do this for a living do enjoy just going out and going wheeling, because at Good Evening there's a couple times that Sierra's like, hey, we should film this. I was like, no. Like, we're by ourselves for once, like we don't have kids with us and stuff. Let's just enjoy being out for a little bit. There'll be plenty of times to film, because like it does turn into work in a way. Like it's still fun. Don't get me wrong, it is still fun. But there is a little bit of work involved with it at that point.
Yeah, there's something fun about just unscheduled, like, unregimented, I guess is the better word. Like we're just gonna do our thing, and we're not gonna worry about how it looks on camera.
Happens.
Yep. Because even if you're not like trying to make, to like react to a camera presence, like it still happens, like to some extent, even if you're just like doing your thing.
It's fucking Hayes with his iPhone out. Like, it just happens.
Yeah.
Boys get rowdy when the camera comes out. I mean, it's just one of those things.
Yep. Can confirm. And, the other thing with it is you always have to remember to, like, care about the equipment, which in my setup ends up being a problem because there's nowhere to really throw it. So I always get concerned about that, and my phone ends up in like a fucking Tupperware container shoved into the radio slot, so I don't accidentally remove it from the vehicle, and then it just gets forgotten about.
Look at some. This is the one good thing I can say came from like the side-by-side world. There's so many like little bags and stuff that attached to the roll cage. We have one, for instance, in the Zook, because there's nowhere good to put your phone, the camera, anything like that. And we have this little pouch that like Velcro straps to the roll cage right between the two seats. And you can put all kinds of stuff in there, cameras, phones, I mean, you name it. You can put it in that bag, like an air tag to keep track of your shit. Like, it's just, there's so much stuff out there now because of those.
That I will have to look into, but even then I'm concerned about that because like the area, so my Jeep doesn't really have a shit ton of tube internally at the area between the B and like the driver's compartment. There's a fuck ton behind the B, and there's like a bunch of external shit because it's got double A's and fucking all of that other stupid fucking trying to keep it together horse shit. So there's a sound bar, there's a fire extinguisher mount, there's seat mounts, there's harnesses on all of the tube that's available. What I really need to do is I need to like go pick up another damn Harbor Freight ammo can and mount it next to the center console ammo can, or someplace else where it's still readily available, so I can just quick pop it and put a phone and other accessories and shit in there. But
you have a harness bar?
I have a harness bar, but it's not very easy to access.
Okay, because I was thinking like, because ours has like an X right behind us, and there's also a harness bar. Because we just have it attached to the harness bar and like part of the X.
Yeah, you put it like so behind the passenger head, right, or something like that, so then the driver can get it.
It's
basically
right between us. It's like damn near at your, I don't know, just below your armpit, kind of is where the bag's at.
Mm-hmm. That's right about where I've got the fire extinguisher and the radio.
Okay,
you could probably find some spot on the X.
I can eventually, or just throw another piece of 120 wall in there because fuck it, I've got.
Because why not?
At this fucking point in time, what's it matter? It weighs 5,100 pounds after I cut the nose off of it.
You have that middle C pillar. You could just run it forward.
Yes.
Your storage bar.
Fucking put my.
You got those big old back windows too. Those don't have any glass in them, right?
Nope, the glass is all
Yeah,
gone.
just run a tube, and then you can run all your little pouches, your packs on those.
I do have to go and find like if someone makes a Weldon like pack out style plate for the Harbor Freight pack out system, because I picked one of those up and I kind of want to go and pick more of them up. I really fucking like it.
I want to go that route with our buggy because we just have I forget what brand it is, but there's some sort of plastic tote, and then there's like an aluminum piece over it, and the aluminum thing over it, I forget who makes it, but it is very expensive, and it makes it almost very inconvenient too, because I'm not going to buy another one.
Mhm.
And well, just let me know if you find the plate for the Harbor Freight pack out stuff, because that's kind of
Somebody's
my
got a
next route
laser
as
cut
well.
one. Somebody's got to cut one. If they don't,
Yeah.
and you're listening, start cutting those things out because probably make some money.
Yeah,
I'm surprised
and
Harbor Freight doesn't make one.
I could not believe I didn't see anything at Harbor Freight when I was there for their pack out stuff.
yeah, I really liked it too though. Like it's a $25 tote that like got rid of 2 of my tool bags. It's easy to ratchet strap into place. The thing didn't move around while I was at AOP. I'm like, all right, cool, fuck it. If I can find a pack out plate for this, like Graham was saying, I'm missing both of the windows. Put it right there where it's nice and easily accessible with a ratchet strap over the top.
Well, they have rubber gaskets on them too, so they're all watertight.
Yep, and that was a big thing because I leave the toolkit in the Jeep, like it's just the Jeep's toolkit. So I
Yep.
would like a watertight, way to hold them so that way I can just oil them a little bit and call it good. And the one that I bought was the mid-size, so it came with all the internal containers. I just put a little bit of oil on some sockets, or on the sockets, put them into the containers, and I can forget about them basically fundamentally forever. Um, because they're all fucking sealed up and they've got a little oil in there. They're not going to rust out the way that they used to.
Yeah, that was why I wanted to go to the Harbor Freight packouts because I think the plastic tote is a Rubbermaid tote, and it leaks water. I had to drill holes in the bottom of it. We had our spare stub shafts and stuff in there, but they are just so rusty at this point from being in that tote that because it literally would fill up with water. And there's nowhere for the water to go.
Yeah, I'm having issues with my current little toolbox in my J20 right now because it's not watertight. It's literally just it's like a husky bin, and it's been nice, but I've just left it in the back of the truck, and it's always full of water. I think our buddy RJ picked it up, and it was like sloshing around. I was like, yeah, I kind of gave up. It's been pouring rain like every 3 days here. It seems like, and I'm just done dumping it out. But yeah, watertight is nice. It'd be nice. I'm looking at them now. It's just the Bauer modular toolboxes, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they're not bad for $30.
Damn.
Yeah,
That ain't
for the
bad at all.
price point of them, it's like in there. We've got some for work for some of the company trucks, and the quality of them is actually really nice too, from what I've seen so far.
I'm not going to say it's quite as nice as like a Milwaukee pack out.
Well, no, it's
But
Harbor Freight, but
it's like a solid 85% of the way there for half the cost.
exactly. And I mean, at some point, you're gonna break the Milwaukee in some way, shape, or form.
I'm going
So
to break
why
the Harbor
spend?
Freight.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna break both of them. So why not just spend a little bit less money and get the Harbor Freight one?
Yep.
Yeah. So we're getting close to we've been recording for what, about 2 and change hours or so now, 2.5 hours. We're getting close
2
to where
hours.
that's it.
Yeah.
I'm bad at math. I thought
Either way.
either way though. We like to kind of close out on like a happy-go-lucky little bit here. So you got any dad advice for us?
Oh man. Just enjoy every minute of it and spend time with your kids. Actually, on Mother's Day, we went for a bike ride, and it was just cool. My 2-year-old was on a Stasic, and it's an electric bike type of deal. And he just learned 2 wheels, and it was just a fun day. So just spend that quality time.
I
Fuck
respect it. And in addition to that, your time is valuable, so consider how you want to waste it. But have a good night, guys. We look forward to seeing you next episode, and please like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out your Instagram, which is Japscrapadventures.